and wealth partner, because one of the things in finding Alpha and I've been into holistic health. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I've been into holistic health my whole life. I was raised that way. My mother was way ahead of her time. Literally as a 5-year-old, I would have oatmeal with ground flaxseed and brewer's yeast in water when everyone else was having Tony the Tiger. Okay. And then when I became a teenager, I rebelled, and it's like, all the other kids are having all these other things. So I had pizza and sugar and candy and all these things I couldn't have. And I broke out like crazy, and I felt horrible. So lucky for me, I was 19, almost 20. I got into it on my own. And actually the first company that I was ever with was Shackley, selling vitamins for like about $10 a bottle, 1967, I think it was. And, people rather buy trinkets. I was in San Francisco working for the railroad, and people rather buy trinkets than buy a $10 bottle of vitamins. So it was like, I used to get so upset. I don't anymore, because that's not, what I do anymore. I'm not selling vitamins and not pushing vitamins or trying to convince anybody about anything.
Emelie, would you mind sharing your age?
I'm 60. I'll be 69 in December.
Wow. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow.
So anyway, so my journey from that point has always been to find the best of the best of, products, tools, health, I call them health toys, and different modalities that really support us, to get to optimal health. So, in fact, I'm writing a book, and my book is I Found the Fountain of Youth and the Pot of Gold. And the reason I found the Fountain of Youth and the Pot of Gold is because I don't want anybody to say I can't afford it. When I share the different things with them, I don't want them to say, oh, I can't afford that, I can't afford this, because I have some expensive health toys. But it's not even that. There's a lot of things that I share that are free, that are freebies. And so I don't want anybody who has any health issues or would just like to be healthier and have healthier children to say I can't afford it. So I do share, and I love sharing how I became successful in this industry after 35 years of not being successful, 35 years of not making a dime, 35 years of having closets full of stuff, having garages full of stuff, and just not knowing what to do with any of it, because no one ever told me what to do with it. So about 13 years ago, someone took me by the hand. I don't know why they picked me, but they taught me a simple system. And it's what I teach people, and it's from that point I became successful. And one of the things that he said was, it's all about timing, vision, and all-out massive action. So if you're going to find a person that is, going to really take off in this vision, they have to have all the three of those things. It has to be the right time for them. And it might not be right now, but it might be in 6 months. So you just always keep them, I have lists of people, I have people sorted. So, I stay in touch with people. I keep the relationship. I'm going to talk about relationship in a few minutes, but keeping a relationship with someone is really, really important. It's probably one of the most important things, because it might not even be them. It might be who they know that it turns out to be a leader in your organization. So anyway, those two things are really important. And that is that it's right timing for them. They get the vision. They see that they can create whatever they want. They have no brakes. I always tell people, if you got 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake, what are you doing? You're spinning donuts. So you got to take that foot off the brake. You got to see the vision. You got to go forward. So, and then all-out massive action. And I'm going to talk about all-out massive action when we get to the cards. Anyway, let me go back to the two reasons. I'm into prevention And that's why, you know, Alpha and the things that I do is about prevention. Because you hear all these stories about all these conditions people have. Well, you don't have to have any of that. So I'm into prevention and age reversing. A lot of people, I tell people right off, and I tell all my people, don't talk about disease. You talk about health. And I tell people that right off. I said, I don't talk about disease, I talk about health. And I talk about what they can do to be healthy and not do that, because it's almost contagious, all those words out there. But I want to share 2 reasons why I picked Alpha. Is one, because of my book and the way it describes the body as a 1,000 puzzle. And for some people, it might be one piece is missing. They might be nutritionally deficient. Another person, they might have 5 pieces of the puzzle missing. So maybe their structure's off. Maybe they have TMJ and the signal's not getting to their brain that tells their body what to do. So there's a lot of different pieces there. So I really don't believe in a silver bullet, but I have to tell you that G-Cell, if there is a silver bullet, would be the silver bullet. It is the closest thing I have found to a silver bullet. So I always tell people now, I don't believe in a silver bullet, but I think I found the silver bullet. It's about 5,000 years old, and it's the secret to longevity. So they all want to know about it after I say that. It's because of the product and what I saw, what the research, all the things that you guys have shared on these webinars. And the other part of it is the company, the integrity of the owner, the integrity of the company, of course, the integrity of the product and the way it's processed, it's grown, from beginning to end, the integrity of the leadership. It's really important that you have, leaders that on a mission, that have a passion, and a compensation plan that is that for me, I feel that this compensation plan, and this is why I'm here. I have another company that has over 5,000 people in it, but I don't see that I can get where I want to get. I've made multiple 6 figures a year, but I want to make 6 figures a month. And I don't want to just make 6 figures a month just to have more money and, I have a great life now. It's because I have a mission in life I have a Clean Earth Jobs project where one of my goals is to clean up that big pile of plastic in the Pacific Ocean. And so in order to do that, we need engineers, we need a lot of people. So that is why I want to make 6 figures a month. It's not just to have money. So anyway, I feel that this company has a plan that we can do that. So that is why I'm here, because of the product, because of the integrity of the company and the product, and because I feel that this is where I can create the income that I'd like to create to do the projects that I'd like to do in the world. So that's why I picked Alpha. My journey in network marketing has been over 48 years. Again, the last 13 is very successful because I told you that it was shared that it has to be your timing, your vision, your all at massive action. But here's the 3 steps that I was given that blew me away, and I became successful in the very first company that Dan shared this with me. He said, there's only 3 things you need to do. He says, you pique a person's interest, you lead them to information, get that third-party validation. Okay? So you pique their interest. That doesn't mean that you go blah, 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 because one of the biggest mistakes that people make in this industry is they talk too much. And then it's not duplicatable, because they look at you and they go, man, I could never do what they do. Oh, they're so smart. They know so much. If you do that, you're just, you're cutting your nose to spite your face, because it's not duplicatable. So you have to pique their interest, lead them to information, get the third-party validation. The third-party validation is because you don't want to be the person that tells them everything and it sounds like you're trying to sell them or convince them. You want to connect them with a third person to know that there is another person, and you validate that person, you edify them, and they answer the questions. Say, you know what? Richard knows, he's been doing this longer than me. He knows more than I do. Let me introduce you to Richard. And sometimes what I do, because I do GoPro, is I get them on the phone. Actually, on the phone, when I call that person back, when I've made an appointment with them, and if you've done GoPro, listen to CD2 over and over again until you start setting up the appointments. If I do this, will you do that? If I send you this link, will you watch it? When will you watch it? If I call you on Tuesday, you will have watched it. Yes. And then you have someone else on the phone. If they've watched it, you go, wow, I knew you were going to have questions. I have Richard. He can probably better answer your questions than I can. And you do the introduction. So anyway, that is really important because that's duplicatable. And that's all I did for, I built about a $5,000 check in less than 6 months doing, in fact, what I used to do is pique a person's interest and then I would give them now it's so easy because you can text them, you can email them, you can, send them an audio. There's so many ways to send information. In fact, it's really good to ask a person, how do you like to be communicated to? What is the best way? And not everybody, but a lot of people use their phone. Other people go, no, please send email because they'll sit on their computer when they get home. So everybody's different. Find out how they like to be communicated to and communicate to them that way. So once I get that information, you made that appointment, you get them on the phone with that third party, and then, you find out where they are. You might have to do another exposure. You might have to send a little more information, but that is what's duplicatable, is make it easy to see that. What you want them to say is, I can do that. Oh, I could do that. I mean, it's amazing. And so anyway, that is the 3 things that I was taught and built a check very quickly in the first company. And then I teach this. And the other company that I have been in, or I'm still in actually, in 12 months, I started making 6 figures. So, that's the most important thing. One thing that is this is really the most important thing. Before those 3 things is the relationship. You have to have a relationship. You just don't start with anybody and just all of a sudden you go, you know what, I'm going to send you a link. And they're going, what? What are you talking about? No, you have to build a relationship. And here's an acronym, if you have a pen, that I use, that I teach my people how to remember how to build a relationship. And the acronym is FORD, F-O-R-D. So when you first meet somebody, and even if it's somebody you haven't talked to in a long time, and you do the same thing. You use the FORD acronym. So you talk about family. Oh, how's the family? Oh, do you have a family? Do you have kids? Oh, do you have grandkids? And you ask them. Some people think that's being nosy. It's not. It's caring. So you find out how their family is and, what does your son do? Or, depends on how old their kids are, but you talk about family. O is for occupation. So what do you do? I just was traveling. I just got back from California. In fact, we were just at a party last night, and this is exactly what I did when I met these people. Is you find out, so what do you do? And just find out what they do. What does your wife do? What do your kids do? Find out. O is for occupation. R is for recreation. So what do you do for fun? And just find out what they do for fun. Sometimes there'll be short conversations, then be longer, but you want to build a relationship a trusting relationship to where they trust you. I never talk, when I meet somebody for the first time, I never talk about what I do. In fact, I wait till a person asks me what I do, and that's when it's giving you permission to say something. And a lot of times I won't even say what, I said I'm into the health, and, I might say I found the 5,000-year-old secret to longevity, and then they want to really know because I said something that kind of piqued them. And they'll say, well, tell me about it. And I go, you know what? Give me your email. And what I do is I have them text to me their phone number. I have them, email me, text me their email, and then I have their email, their phone number, and I know their name. Because you want those 3 things. And then you ask them how they want to be communicated to. But anyway, so the R is recreation. The D is dreams. Some people use the acronym M for money, but I like D for dreams. You know, so are you living the dream? Is this the dream life for you? You know, is it the dream job for you? Is it, you know, is this the dream? A lot of people, oh my gosh, it's like, no. What would you be doing then? What is your passion? What would you be doing if money was no object? And so you kind of find out about them, you know, what is it that they would be doing? So anyway, that's how you build a relationship. I've done it on airplanes with, you know, who's ever sitting next to me. And sometimes, you know, I get their information and then I call them and they don't call me back. Don't worry about it. There's, you know, next. That's happened to me. And then sometimes I do, you know, I find someone and we build a relationship and we're friends today. Sometimes we don't do business together. And I have people that I still calling that I've been talking to for 2 years. And I know someday we're either going to do something together because we like each other, or there's somebody that they know that, you know, that I'm going to connect with. So relationship is number one. It's really the most important thing. So, let's see, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. A couple of tools. Okay. When you're building a relationship, when you ask a question like, how's the you know, about family, listening is the most important thing, is listening. And there's an excellent CD called Listening for Success by Steve Shapiro. Listening for Success by Steve Shapiro is excellent because most people really don't listen. Because if you really listen, you know what to say. You know the next thing to say if you really listen. So this is a great tool. And of course, your GoPro, you have to have your GoPro CD. You know, anybody that comes to my team who's serious about doing this business, this is my gift to them. So listening is you know, is really important. So let me just look at my notes right here to see if third-party validation. Okay. Okay, I just kind of want to give you an example.
Emelie, amazing. You are rocking it. This is blowing my mind. Don't stop.
Thank you. Sometimes what people will say, you know, they'll say, oh, when you're asking me these questions and you're getting to know them, you're doing the forward thing on them. They'll say, oh gosh, my mother's really sick, or, you know, my husband this, or, you know, I got a kid in college. I don't know what I'm going to do to pay for their college. You know, they'll say these things. If you really listen, you can hear something that will go, you know what? And then at some point you say, you know what? There's something you need to know about. And then you send them your website. I love our new website, by the way. You send them the information to, you know, that they need. And a lot of times I don't even tell them what it is. They'll say, well, what is it? And I go, you know what? You just need to know about it. And so I, you know, and I find out how they want to be communicated. Do they want it to, you know, me to text it to them? They want me to email it to them, and I'll send them the website. And for me, sometimes, you know, I'll send oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the studies. I'll send the studies, depending on if they're talking about health. If they're not talking about health, sometimes if they're talking about money, of course, I'll send them, what did I find? Our leader, who's our leader? Oh, I can't hear you.
Scott?
Scott, thank you.
5 elements of success or
Scott's little video. I will send that. And you can ask Stan, because that's what I sent to Stan. And so anybody who's in the industry, I will send them that with a nice invitation and send them that and pique their interest with that. And I'll send them little studies, because most of them are into, you know, health, you know, so I'll send them some studies. And then at the very bottom under my signature, I'll have the website in case they just, what I don't want to do is the reason why I don't use names like Alpha and G-Cell and all that, because people will Google it. And then they'll go all over the internet and they'll do that. No, I can buy this at the health food store. No, you want to control the situation. You want to control the, the information that they're looking at and getting. So as much as you can do that, you want to make sure you give them the right pieces that's for them. And if you listen to them, you know which ones are the right pieces for them. Okay, so okay, so this is how you find your leaders. This is the deck of cards. Okay, so yes, as Richard said, there are 52 cards in a deck, and every deck has 4 aces. But as you can see in this one, we don't know where those aces are. They could be all mixed up. They could be at the bottom. They could be anywhere in the deck. So the all-out massive action means and you can even do this. I've done it before. When you enroll someone, you write their name on it. And if they're an ace, and some people will start out as maybe a 7 or any other card but an ace, and they might turn into an ace, but you write a name. And when you've gone through a deck of cards, I will guarantee you will have 4 aces. And I mean 4 leaders, not business builders, leaders. And leaders are the difference between a leader and a business builder to me is a leader is a person that's going to do it with you or without you. They're going to do it. They're going to make it happen. A business builder will kind of, they'll build a business, but they're not like all out massive action vision and all out massive action. So, but you will, if you go through a deck of cards, 52 people, and get them enrolled, I'm not talking about customers. I'm talking about people enrolled to as a associate. So anyway, that's why this is one way to keep track. And when you've gone to this 52 deck, you see that you probably have 4 aces. And then you work on the next deck. That's what you do after that. You don't stop. And it gets funner and funner because it gets easier and easier. And when things start rolling and the money starts rolling, it's like, wow, this is so fun. And then, you teach your people the same thing. It's duplication. So exactly what I'm sharing with you is what you share with your people by demonstrating how to, by doing it this way. If you go and you go, oh yeah, they told me blah, 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 then you're not demonstrating. You really want to demonstrate how it's done. So where do you learn? I learned from a guy named Dan, who taught me all this, and I've been duplicating, but Eric Worre is awesome. I went last year to the Eric Worre recruiting mastery, because this is about recruitment. It really is. And these guys who are making 7 figures, and that's where I want to be. I heard them all on stage. And I'm telling you, young people, back in the day, this industry was about us baby boomers. But young people are getting it. And with the social media, but social media, just remember, social media is just like I'm a phone person and a live person. But social media, same thing. You've got to build that relationship. You can't just slam stuff and post stuff on their stuff. You got to build that back and forth relationship. The same way you do it in person, you want to build it, so do you have a family? You do the same thing. So anyway, so I went to Eric Worre last year. There were 7,000 people there. It's a free zone. In other words, you cannot talk about your company and what you do with people, and you'll meet a lot of people. But I'll just tell you, I'm a product person. I told you my background is health, and I've always been in that. But I made a real shift into almost 100%. But my focus is really about business and leaders, because I can help a lot more people if I have a lot more leaders. And my thing is helping people get to optimal health. My thing is, if it's like tides rise all ships, we can all come together. So I highly recommend, suggest, I should say, that you go to the Eric Worre. If you can, go to the Eric Worre. And I bought tickets to the Eric Worre, because right now, if you go to the Eric Worre Recruiting Mastery event in Las Vegas, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it's $600 for a ticket. $600. And I have tickets. If anybody's interested, I have some tickets left for $450. I have tickets left. So if you're interested, I guess I could put it in the chat box, what email to go to. to PayPal if you were interested, and then you just put your personal information, your name, your address, your phone number. But everything is electronic. Like the tickets that I have already, given out, I just send it. I can text it to their phone. They go boom, and the ticket's on their phone, and all they do when they go to the event is show their phone. But you can get you can get a hard copy too. But if you're interested, I highly recommend it. Okay, this is who's going to be there this year. One of my favorite people, Sir Richard Branson, one of my favorite people. Anthony Robbins, who was there last year, and I'll tell you, 7,000 people, if you can imagine the energy there and what you just even pick up just being there. This year, there's going to be over 10,000 guaranteed. Because just think, 7,000, if they invited one person, that's 14,000, and there could be 14,000 there. But being with, and I've done the fire walk, I've done a lot of things with Anthony Robbins, but being there with 7,000 people doing all this stuff with him, because you get to do physical stuff, is great. It really is. And you will meet people, even though you don't talk about your business, you will learn things that you won't learn anywhere else. So if you want to learn from the best of the best and not make the mistakes or not know what to do for 35 years like me, it's a place to go. I say, go get the GoPro CD, and if you can get to this event, get to this event. So I think that's all. If anybody has any questions, Richard.
Wow. Emelie, that was amazing. I love the 3 points of piquing their interest. And then the second thing was
lead them to information.
Lead them to information, and then get them to a 3-way call or a third party.
Third-party validation.
And I love your FORD acronym of building a relationship. That was off the rocks. I'm sure we have a lot of questions. Let's start with Rupali. Rupali, please. Your question.
Hi, Anton. Hi, Emelie.
Hi.
That was very inspiring. Thank you so much. I do have a question. Can you give us some examples other than the, I found the 500-year-old secret to longevity for piquing people's interest?
Just like I said, I don't say a lot, to be honest with you. I will say, it depends on what to say. If they're talking about health, I say, you know what, there's something you need to know about that's going to make a difference in you and your family's health and well-being. And I don't say a lot, because the more you say, the more they're going to ask you questions, and you want that third party to answer those questions. So that would be an example of something I'd say. I say that all the time.
Okay. Okay, great. I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions for Emelie or comments? Your comments are also welcome. Guys, what was something that captured you tonight about Emelie and what she said, or just Emelie herself? Please share it.
One more thing. I'd like to say something. This is Kathy Joe.
Yes, Kathy.
Emelie, you have just presented everything so very clearly and in such an excellent sequence that I feel I can just go out tomorrow and immediately apply this. And Ford will be burned in my mind, and not because I'm driving one. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I just want to say your enthusiasm is so infectious, and I can understand why you've been so successful, because it's just like little sparks fly off of you. So it's really nice to see that modeled. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how do you always have a third party to help you on a call?
Yes. And sometimes I'll use a tool, like if they go, okay, like if I just send them the link, the website, and I don't send them the studies, and I don't know that they have health issues or their family has health issues, then, they'll say, well, what about this? And I go, well, I don't talk about disease, but let me send you some information. And so that will be something that I'll send them before I get them on the phone. Then I said, well, take a look at this, and then, let's reconnect. And then I set up another time to connect with them. If you can always set up another exposure, another appointment with them, that is the best. And that isn't GoPro. And it was the one thing, it took me a hard time in listening to this number 2 over and over again to start really using that. It works. And the other thing I want to mention about this is be in a hurry. That really works when you're in a hurry. When people start asking you questions and you really want the third party to answer, just go, you know what? I got this phone appointment, or I got to go, but I'll get those answers for you. And then you connect them up and say, or you might say, Scott can better answer that question. Like me, I'm not a comp person. And let's just say it's someone, a networker, and they want to know about they want to know about the comp. That's their most important thing, is the comp. I usually have somebody else view the comp for me, but so I don't really speak to the compensation plan personally. So I'll say, Scott knows the compensation plan best. Let me get him on the phone and get those questions answered. So I just kind of connect them. And if you know your people, know the upline and who is, best, like Richard has a gal that I talked to in New York that David introduced me to that gave me some tips just on, I never drank coffee before. And she gave me some tips on, because the caffeine drives me crazy. And so it didn't, but I felt something. Well, she says, you take a calm with it and it's fine. And so that's what I do. And it's just nothing, smooth. No caffeine reaction for me.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's got some great stories.
Emelie, I've very much enjoyed your wisdom, your enthusiasm, and the succinctness that you have, not just in this evening's presentation, but as I can see that you do it in every step each day. Keep it simple.
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. And Emelie, I'm just so great. I'm just so overwhelmed that we got to capture this. It's going to be on a recording. Amanda, incidentally, did send a script version of Listening for Success. Within that time, I've already put it on successwithalfay.com. You can go right down to the bottom and you'll see now the title, and you can download that right away, or you can download it right here as you see it. We will have Emelie recording of this by tomorrow, so this will be at the Alfay newsletter. We'll have it also archived on Success with Alfay. And we are very excited this coming Wednesday to have our own Denise Gagner, who's right on the line now, who will be talking about the 4 animal types when we do actual prospecting. So guys, I love that we are keeping the focus on prospecting, showing the plan, and recruiting, because really that is the single most important activity. That the more you do it, the more you get better at it, and the more you come closer to your goal. And I'm almost going to venture to say that if that is the only single thing that you do, even above training any of the people that you bring in, and your people see you doing that, you will probably have way more success than any training they could go through by being the role model of showing the plan, piquing people's interest, just like Emelie said, getting a third party in a 3-way call. If you can do that one single activity and begin to make it part of your habit with Alfay, Emelie, would you agree that that is probably the single most important activity?
Those 3 steps over and over and over again. Pique their interest, lead them to information, third-party validation. After the relationship, you've got to have the relationship. People will think you're trying to shove something down your throat if you don't have the relationship. But after the relationship, those 3 things, that's all you have to do. Pique their interest, lead them to information, third-party validation. That's it. And you know what? When I first started doing that, I'm going, man, this is so cool. All I have to do is get them on the phone with Dan, get them on the phone with Dan, get them on the phone with Dan. I go, I love this. And you know what? I never, ever thought that I'd be the one doing the 3-ways. I never thought that. And then at some point, it just shifted. And I started doing 3-ways for my people's people. Not for my people, but for my people's people. and then it took off to a whole nother level. So it is the training ground. If you edify, and we could do a whole call on 3 ways. If you edify that person properly, and you are a fly on the wall, all you're doing is listening, and let them build the relationship so that they are trusted and they get their questions answered and they feel good about that. That is your training ground. Then you will all of a sudden feel comfortable doing that because you've heard this information over and over again. You've heard this whole scenario over and over again. So it's a great thing to do. They say if you do 40 of those, I forget what it is, but anyway, you want to do as many 3 ways as possible because you want to do 52.
Wonderful. So Emelie, when we post it, I will also post your offering of those discount tickets.
Okay.
I highly recommend it. Any one of my downline that has gone to those events, Eric Worre was here in New York City in October, and I went to. It really is. He is one of the most he himself is one of the most incredible inspirational speakers. So clear, so to the point, and I love his stories. He makes you laugh. And sometimes you're laughing at some pretty big tragedies that he went through, but he wants you to laugh at them because he wants you to grow and learn from them. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend going to that event.
Yeah.
Emelie, thank you so much. Guys, so much
Thank you.
time. We look forward to hearing from Denise next Wednesday. We'll be announcing that tomorrow. And Emelie, once again, thank you just so much for your generosity of spirit, your great information. And it's truly a pleasure working with you.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm here.
Thank you very much. It was great.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Anton, too, for setting it up.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Emelie.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.